Picture this. In Lagos, someone buys a luxury penthouse for 850 million naira. They pay for it in cash. Meanwhile, just a few kilometers down the road, a family is scraping together 120,000 naira to rent a single room for a year. So, how on earth can these two worlds exist in the very same city? Well, that's Nigeria's property paradox, and today we're going to unpack it.
So on one side of the coin, you have the world of the eco-y penthouse. It's a symbol of this high-flying, ultra-exclusive luxury market. And on the other, you've got the Ajugunle tenement, which is the tough rental reality for millions. And make no mistake, these aren't just different price tags. They represent two completely different Nigerias living right next to each other.
And that is the big question we're tackling today. Is this a sign of a healthy, booming economy, or is it a dangerously overinflated bubble that's totally disconnected from the lives of everyday people? You know, the answer to that question reveals some pretty uncomfortable truths about wealth, inequality, and how the Nigerian economy really works.
All right, so first things first, let's step inside that glitzy world of luxury. What exactly is fueling this high-end boom, and what does it even look like on the inside?
The sheer scale of it is just staggering. According to a major report by RIHUD, we're talking about a market in Lagos alone that's worth an estimated $7.5 billion. And it's not slowing down. It's growing at a rate of 6 to 8% every single year.
Now, this is not slow and steady growth. Just in 2023, the prices for these luxury properties shot up by 25%. That kind of rapid appreciation is exactly what pulls in wealthy individuals and diaspora investors who are hunting for big returns.
But here's where things get really interesting. How are people paying for these places? Well, industry insiders estimate that a whopping 80% of these luxury homes are bought entirely with cash. No mortgages, no loans from the bank. That right there is a huge red flag that this market is playing by a completely different set of rules than most others around the world.
And when we say luxury, we're not kidding around. We are talking infinity pools, private elevators, smart home everything, even helipads. But here's the most crucial part. They have their own, independent, 24/7 power and water treatment plants.
And that really brings us to this powerful idea. These places aren't just fancy apartment buildings. They are, as one analysis brilliantly put it, self-contained luxury ecosystems. They are literally designed to be a bubble, a world apart, insulating the people inside from all the infrastructure challenges the rest of the country deals with every single day.
Okay, so let's leave that insulated bubble for a minute and step into the reality for the vast majority of Nigerians. This is the other, much harsher side of the paradox, the massive, unaffordable rent crisis.
The math here just doesn't work. It's as simple as that. Let's take a federal civil servant, for example. Just finding a decent two-bedroom apartment can eat up a massive slice of their entire yearly salary. And buying a place? Forget about it. The cheapest apartment could take more than 83 years of their salary to buy. For most people, owning a home isn't just a dream. It's a mathematical impossibility. You know, the global standard, the rule of thumb, is that you shouldn't spend more than 30% of your income on rent. But in Nigeria, most families are forced to spend somewhere between 40 and 60%. That leaves almost nothing left over for food, for school fees, for healthcare, for anything. And then, as if that's not enough, there's another uniquely Nigerian hurdle. In most countries, you pay rent month by month. Here, landlords often demand 1, sometimes even 2 years' worth of rent all at once, up front. So even if you could technically afford the rent spread out over a year, coming up with 1 or 2 million naira in a single lump sum is a total non-starter for the average family. So we have these two markets that seem like they're on different planets. But are they really? Let's take a look under the hood at the hidden engine that's driving this whole system, the thing that actually connects the world of the penthouse to the world of the tenement. It really boils down to 3 main forces. First, the naira is constantly losing value, so wealthy people see property as a solid, safe way to protect their money from inflation. Second, there just aren't many other good, safe places to invest your money. The stock market can be a roller coaster, so real estate becomes the default safe bet. And third, this is the big one. The market is so secretive that it's become a perfect tool for laundering illicit cash. So how does that work exactly? Well, sources describe a few common playbooks. You can use illicit cash to buy a property directly, usually through a proxy or a shell company. Or a buyer and seller can agree to fake the price, inflating it way up to clean a much larger amount of money. Or you can just pour the dirty money into a brand new construction project. When the apartments are sold, the profits come out looking totally legit. Now, you'd think the government would be all over this, right? Well, they have tried. The Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2022 brought in some much stricter rules. But look at what happened to investor confidence in a city like Port Harcourt. Nearly 63% of real estate pros said the new law had a negative impact. And that suggests that while the law is trying to create transparency, all the new paperwork and scrutiny is actually scaring away investors who got used to the old, easy, anonymous way of doing business.
But here's the real kicker. You can make all the laws you want, but if you don't enforce them, what's the point? The same study found that the rule about mandatory disclosure of who actually owns a property, which should be a game changer for transparency, has had the least impact of all the new rules. And that points directly to a massive enforcement gap. So, given this really complex, kind of broken picture, where's all of this headed? Is it a sustainable boom? Is it a bubble that's about to pop? Or is it something else? Analysts are pointing to about 4 possible futures. On one end, you have the nightmare scenario, a hard crash. Imagine a sudden economic shock, like oil prices collapsing or some major political crisis. That could trigger a panic, with luxury property prices just plummeting by as much as 60%. The more optimistic alternative is what's called a soft landing. This would involve a gradual price correction in the luxury market combined with some serious government investment in affordable housing to create a healthier, more balanced market for everyone. But if you ask the experts what's most likely to happen, well, the answer is that we'll probably just muddle through. In this future, nothing really changes. The luxury market kind of flatlines, the rent crisis for everybody else just keeps getting worse, and Nigeria's property market stays exactly what it is today, a tale of 2 extremes.
And that leaves us with one last really crucial thought. The 500 million naira question, it isn't really about real estate prices or investment returns at all. It's a reflection of our national priorities. It's about inequality, about the rule of law, about governance, and ultimately, it's about what kind of country we actually want to build.